Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we are doing day 11 of the 13 days of horror, and today we are talking sci-fi / cosmic horror. So grab yourselves a beverage, let me know what are some of your favourite sci-fi or cosmic horror books to read, and let's just get straight into it. I'm going to start off with one that I want to talk about before I forget, because I have done that in a few videos. Today I've done a filming day where I've actually filmed a few. I think this is my 5th one that I'm filming in one day, and I've remembered to put the ones that I don't own at the start. Yesterday when I was filming, may not have been yesterday, I don't know, the other day that I was filming, I didn't do that. And so at the end of quite a few of those videos, you've got a, oh my god, I forgot this book moment. So, starting off of the one I don't own, we have Meddling Kids by Edgar Camero, and this was such a fun, silly book. Look, do I fully recommend this as a you must go out and read this? No, not really. But if you just want a really campy, cringy, silly kind of book, something that doesn't take itself seriously, and is also a little bit wacky in terms of the way it's written, give it a try. I ended up enjoying this more than what I thought. I read it slowly, I was just dipping in and out of this one. This one is a Scooby-Doo book with cosmic horror added in. We are seeing the gang as they are older. So basically what happened at the start of this book, they solve this case. It's the case of this, like, I don't know, something to do with the lake. I think it was the lake monster or something. And they solve it, and then they all go off their separate ways. They grow up and stuff, and then we fast forward and we meet them as they are adults. And we realise that they're not doing so hot. They have been struggling, and this last case that they did has been weighing on them a lot, and what if they didn't actually solve it? What if there's more going on? And so we get the gang coming back together and going back to this place to revisit the case, and things go from there. And it is so wacky and unusual. It really is. Like, sometimes the book is so self-aware and the characters are aware they're in a book, because you'll get moments, it literally says the character turned back to check how many exclamation marks they had there. They didn't want to put too many. And I'm like, so random. Like, so you get times where they're breaking the fourth wall, other times where it's written as if it's like a screenplay moment where you just have their name and then the sentence they're going to say, and you'll have that go for a little bit, and then they'll again break that fourth wall and be like, okay, they stopped doing it like that now, they're going to go back to a normal novel, how it should be. Like, it's so unusual, but it adds to it. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the unusualness, the weirdness of it all, and the fact that the weirdness wasn't just in the plot, but also in the way the book was written, the formatting of the book. And I just thought it was such a clever little book, but also it doesn't take itself seriously, okay? This is a silly book. It is not one that's going to be a new favourite, but I had fun with it. Like, I think this is probably one of the more light-hearted, funny books that I have read this year that I just had silliness with. I wasn't expecting an amazing book, but I just had a fun little romp with it. And I think because also it's Scooby-Doo, you've got the nostalgia from childhood, it reminds me a lot of the live action film. You know, the live action film where it was so cheesy, it reminds me of that. And, you know, you just add in a bit of cosmic horror. That's what it reminds me of. So if you're wanting that, I would kind of recommend this one. But it's not going to be a new favourite. Like, it's not a high star rating book, but it was an entertaining time. Then we're going to get into all the other recommendations. And I wanted to talk about a classic author, which is Algernon Blackwood. Algernon Blackwood has done a lot of really weird, unusual writings. Obviously, H.P. Lovecraft, cosmic horror goes hand in hand, but I kind of prefer Algernon Blackwood in a way. I just think their work was so unusual, very weird, very strange writings. In this one, it's a short story collection. We have The Willows, Ancient Sorceries, The Wendigo, and The Man Whom the Trees Loved. And I have read, I think it's The Wendigo and The Willows out of this one, and I want to read the others. I have Ancient Sorceries in a different collection. I actually have all of the Ancient Sorceries in that bind up, so I've only really got one left to read in here. But this was just so good, and I feel like he's been very influential. He's a classic author that not many people talk about, yet has inspired a lot of authors. So I feel like he doesn't get the credit. I feel like he's starting to get a bit more credit, especially thanks to P. Kingfisher. The Hollow Places is based around, I think it's this one is The Willows, which is why I started reading Algernon Blackwood, and yeah, I really enjoyed them. They're just strange, unusual, weird books. They're not horrifying. I mean, they're unsettling, definitely, but it's not like in your face scary, but it is that weird, unsettling, things aren't fully explained sort of horror. So would recommend if you're looking for a classic author. But then of course we do have the more modern day works. So The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher, I really enjoyed. It is based on The Willows, and this is a story where we're following our main character. What is her name? Cara isn't doing so hot, so she goes to stay with her uncle because she needs a place to get back on her feet, and her uncle needs help with running this very unusual museum. It's just a museum of oddities. But then she finds this hole in the wall and she goes exploring, and it's creepy. It's very, very creepy. This is also kind of like Portal as well, because we're going into this other place. It's like a liminal place. Creepy as hell. Very freaky, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I think this is one of T. Kingfisher's purely like horror works, but it also at the same time it still has kind of like that classic folklorish feel to it, and I think because it is based on a classic book, well, short story, but yeah, really good. I really enjoyed this one. I also love it because you've got T. Kingfisher's signature humour in here as well, so you've got some light-hearted moments paired in with some of those really unsettling moments. It's just eerie, the vibes that it gives me. Again, this is not a book that, I don't know, actually, there's scenes in this that I was like, that was scary. And I loved the museum. I loved how everything was just unusual. This whole book just had a feel of the weird and the uncanny. So I really enjoyed this one. Talking about weird and uncanny, we have Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. This is book 1 in the Area X, or the Southern Reach series, and I really love this. I've read this book twice now. Now, Area X is a place that has been cordoned off. People aren't allowed to go near it. Weird things keep happening, and so scientists are sending people in to try and find out what's happened in this area, except every mission that they send in, everybody dies. And they're always dying in weird and unusual ways. Now, this book is actually a journal entry from one of the women that get sent in, because this time for the 10th expedition they are sending in women. It's unsettling, it's eerie, you cannot trust what you're reading. The person that we're reading this from, well, she's being affected by the environment around her. This would actually work for botanical horror, I've just realised. I just filmed that subcategory genre recommendation, and I feel like this would also work for it in an unusual way, because it's the plant life that's all mutated and strange. Being in this area is then affecting anyone who enters this area, so you can't trust what's being said, because how much of it is true and how much of it is them being affected by being in this area. It is so unsettling and well done, and I loved it. I thought this was a brilliant book, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series, which I've been saying for ages, but because I enjoyed it so much, and it's one of those books where I'm like, I loved it, so therefore I will take my time with it, because I know you're going to be amazing. And I'm just like, read the damn books, girl. You know you're going to love it. And I love how this cover just kind of encapsulates what you find in Area X. This kind of weird unsettlingness is exactly what you're going to get from Area X, and it just works so well. I really enjoy this book, so would highly recommend. Then we're going to go down, I don't know, I honestly don't know which way I want to go. I've got two very different books to talk about. I guess we'll go with the one that's on top, which is The Library at Hellewaert by Cassandra Clare. This is the Evernight edition, which I do really like. This is cosmic horror. I mean, okay, the tagline for it was dark academia, and yes, it is in an academic setting, but I don't think it's true dark academia. And this is a whole thing where I'm less like, I see dark academia in a certain way, and if you look at books like The Secret History and If We Were Villains and stuff, that's more dark academia, where you have your love and passion for a subject that is leading you to do these very morally grey, questionable things. This is not about that. Instead, we have our main character, Alyssa, who has woken up in this academy, and this is a place where she doesn't want to be here. She's not chosen to be here. The people that are here are just wanting to learn to control their powers a little bit better, because they all have world-ending powers. They're not studying anything. Nothing makes sense in this book. The lessons don't make sense. Instead, they just seem like they're torture porn that the teachers are having fun with, rather than them learning anything. So I don't think it's dark academia. I think it's just a horror book in a school setting. The way this book is formatted is we get kind of like 2 timelines. We get a timeline leading up to these events that the teachers do, which is horrific, and then after that event and them trying to survive. The one leading up to it jumps around in timeline a little because we're getting introduced to different characters. We need to see those interactions, how she first met them all and everything, and different horrific things that happen, but it's not a linear storyline. It jumps around a little bit, and then you have the after what's happening, and that's a more linear storyline. Now, I will say for me, there was one thing that happened in this book that I'm like, why didn't we see the ending of this? Why did we not see the resolution? I want to know what happened. And I still think about it to this day. I do think it was kind of hinted at, so I need to reread it because there is a certain character in here that can tell the future by using their own intestines, which is a whole thing on its own, but he talks in like cryptic riddles, so I feel like my answers are there. I've just got to go looking for them, which now all I can think about is this guy rooting through his innards. Ugh. Anyway, that's some of the horror that you're getting. It's horrific. There are some really gross moments in this book, but also I could not look away. I genuinely could not look away, and it was just so otherworldly horror at the same time. Like, I loved it. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I did really enjoy this book, and I'm genuinely concerned for myself because why am I loving this? But I did. So if you are wanting something that's quite horrific and things, don't expect too much from the Dark Academia aside from it being an academia setting, then you've got this, and it is gross. But that's what I'm saying, like, it is gross. It is torture porn in places, so just keep that in mind. But it was something that will stay in my head rent-free for a very long time. And then finally, we have Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes, and this is a sci-fi horror, which I actually really enjoyed. So this one is kind of similar to some of the ones that I mentioned in the Oceanic horror video. Which order is this coming out in? Yes, Ocean was before this, but it kind of reminds me of From Below, but make it in science? But make it in space. It's that same concept. So we've got this crew, they're like a scavenging crew in space, and they pick up this blip and they go check it out, and they find this ship that has been missing for ages. Nobody knows what happened, and it is an expensive ass ship as well. It's where the powerful and wealthy went to spend their time. It's basically like a massive cruise ship, but in space. And so her and her team decide that this is going to be the payday of a century, we're going to go check it out. And so that's what they do, and of course they find and discover what happened to everyone on this place. It is so good, it is so well done, and I would actually say if you like From Below but you want that same concept but in space, read this, or if you've liked this but want the same concept but in the ocean, read the other one. I do want to read more by this author, but I have heard some mixed things about that other books not being quite as strong as this one. I do think this one is the favourite from the general reviews that I have heard. This, yeah, I really enjoy it. And again, we've got like this 2 timeline thing where we've got Claire, the main character that we're following, in after everything that's happened, that's being kept in this place, trying to tell her story, and she's like, you're keeping me here and you're not listening to me, you know, I don't understand why you're not listening to me. And it's just eerie and unsettling, and I really enjoyed it. I thought this was really good. I think this would be an interesting film as well, you know. I would be too scared to watch it because I'm an absolute wuss. I don't know why that is. I can read a horror book, I can't watch a horror film. It's a whole thing. But yeah, this was really good. And again, like the Darcy Coates book, this is like a popcorn horror for me. It's not one that's like I think about all the time. It's not one that I took loads from. I enjoyed it while I was reading it. It was fun, entertaining, scary, and it worked for what I wanted. So yeah, if you're looking for a popcorn horror book, this is the one that I would recommend. Actually, if you're wanting it in space, it was quite eerie and unsettling. So yeah, okay, those are my sci-fi / cosmic horror recommendations. I do enjoy this sort of genre because one, I want to read more sci-fi anyway, so I definitely want to get into sci-fi horror because I feel like that's going to be a good blend. I want to read more, but also just cosmic horror in general I like because I think it just tends towards the weird, and I really like weird books. So having weird horror basically be cosmic horror, that's pretty good to me. So if you do have any other recommendations, then please feel free to put those in the comments below. I definitely want to read more. This is one of the few where I can say I haven't read other books that would fit into other niche genres that I've spoken about across these videos. Instead, these are books that I'm like, no, it fits here well, but I don't have others to add to this. So I'd be really interested in some of your additions. If you've got other recommendations, I would love to check those out. That brings us to the end. So thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far and you just don't know what to comment, then we're going to have to put a space emoji. I think it's probably the closest. I can't think of anything for cosmic, so we'll just put a space emoji in the comments below if you've made it this far and just don't have anything to comment. And thank you so much for this, for watching the video, for taking the time to comment if you comment, and if you've been watching all of the days of horror, thank you so much for that support. That genuinely means a lot. Please let me know if you'd like to see this sort of thing again next year. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this. It's been a lot of work to do, but I've really enjoyed it, and I've had so much fun coming up with so many different recommendations. Like, it has been brilliant breaking it all down. But okay, right, I will stop talking. Thank you so much for watching. An extra special thank you goes out to all of my Patreons for all of your support over there. Thank you so much. But if you have enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links, anyone I've mentioned, Discord and Patreon, will be linked below for you. And I will of course catch you in the very next video.